Well, Jeff Goodman is being held hostage in Chicago, as you can tell by the lights. Very sketchy situation. Bob Ryan is scanning his draft information as we speak. We got a lot to get to today. We have to tell you that this edition of Ryan Goodman Podcast is brought to you by LinkedIn Talent Solutions. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the people you want to interview faster and for free. Okay, the big surprise last night, Jeff Goodman. This is your time of year. With the number one pick. And I guess it was a well-kept secret that Paolo Banchero was going to go number one.
Very well kept. It was crazy. I mean, the crazier part, even Woj got it wrong. I mean, he got it completely wrong, saying that it was firmed up Thursday morning that the top three picks in order were going to be Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren, and then Paolo Banchero at number 3 to Houston. And it flipped the odds because the odds somebody knew something in Vegas. Obviously, it was leaked out there to some big money bettors. I don't know if they were leaning on Jeff Weltman, the GM at Orlando or something, and he gave away the info. But it went from where Jabari was the heavy favorite to then all of a sudden Paolo made up ground, and then Paolo became the heavy favorite overnight, Wednesday night. And then when Woj tweeted it out, it flipped back, and Jabari was the heavy favorite again. And then draft time comes, and Jeff Weltman, who keeps things, the top two GMs keep things very, very close to the vest, right? Weltman in Orlando and Sam Presti, Massachusetts' own, who we'll get into here for what I thought was an atrocious draft for Oklahoma City. They keep things very, very close to the vest. And it was the right pick. It was the right pick for Orlando because if they had drafted Jabari Smith, who I think fits today's game maybe a little bit better, I don't know if they would have gotten better immediately. But by getting Paolo, they're better immediately because they don't have anybody like him, and there's very few players like him in the NBA. Jabari Smith is similar to Jonathan Isaac, who they drafted a few years ago, Orlando, and he's been hurt and hasn't really been able to play a whole lot. But they're similar in what they do, where Paolo just impacts the game because of his strength, his agility, his size. He can just do everything out there. So I like the pick for Orlando. I think it was the right one.
With all due respect, I think you're missing the point on why he went number one. It was clearly the outfit. And,
Bob, we should get you in that outfit.
They want to sell the outfit to the fans in Orlando and the female fans particularly. All right, all kidding aside, I have a question about him. And I'm completely, you're being interviewed by me now. I'm telling you right now, because I don't know. What am I missing with him? Why do I have a gut feeling he's got a low motor? Why do I think he's a glider? And I don't trust gliders.
He's not a glider, but you just expect him when you look at his body to be a killer. And he can be at times, but he's still young. He's got a lot of shit to him. He's a Seattle kid. Most Seattle kids are tough. Like, that is the one thing when you think about Seattle, kids coming out of Seattle, and that, I watched him play in a game, O'Day a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. And actually, the coolest part of it was I got there late, right when the game was starting. And I was standing outside with a Seattle legend, Jamal Crawford, and neither one of us could get in the building. We couldn't get in until halftime. And the coolest part was, most guys, Jamal Crawford, again, a legend in Seattle hoops, and he didn't complain 1 minute. I'm like, well, if he's not complaining to get in the building, I certainly can't complain. So we literally missed the first half because Jamal Crawford, and I have so much respect for Jamal now. But anyway, we go in there, and I had already seen Paolo play numerous times for USA Basketball in Colorado Springs, so I knew what I was getting myself into. The dude didn't show everything he could do at Duke, and it's hard to.
That's great to know because you see Duke a lot. And in fact, I was there for their opener in New York at the Coaches Classic on November 4th. Yep. So I saw him right away and was ready to get blown away. He doesn't blow you away. At least I haven't seen it. I waited all year.
Look at him again, because you look at him, Bob, and you're like expecting he's a man-child in how he looks. Now, that's going to be the beauty in the NBA is physically he's going to be able to impose his will on guys that are 10 years older than him. He's not going to wear down. Jabari Smith's got to gain weight. Chet's got to gain a ton of weight, and we don't know if that's going to happen. Paolo was the safest pick for Orlando, and also the pick that, again, he can help winning immediately. They will go from a team, he'll win Rookie of the Year next year. How's that? He'll win Rookie of the Year. He may not be the best player in 8 years. Maybe Jabari or Chet catch him, but you got to win soon if you're Orlando. And I think that's what Paolo allows them to do.
All right, let's get to I'm sorry, Bob, did you have something else to say?
Well, just to say that you mentioned the guy that to me is the most intriguing player in the draft in my memory. I can't remember because there never been anything like Chet Holmgren, and not in our time. Not anybody's time. 7 feet tall, doesn't even weigh 200 pounds. Now, I know how skillful he is. I've seen it. But it is just so hard for me to project him into the league, even the way the league is going, knowing that he won't have to worry about posting up,
Right.
He'll never have to worry about that. But still, that body, I just can't. We haven't seen this at that side. We when I saw Brandon Ingram at 6'6", I said that's the skinniest good player I've seen in 40 years since there was a guy named Al Tucker with the Bullets in the early 70s who wasn't that good, but he was the standard by which all skinny guys will be judged forever and ever. And Brandon Ingram has the skinniest calves of any good player I've ever seen. Now comes this guy, got the skinniest everything, and I just I can't wait.
He's scary, Bob. He's scary in a lot of ways. Again, it's like if you're Sam Presti, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Well, what about Presti, Jeff? What about OKC? Because they picked up 3 players in the first round, and you're not happy with what they did.
I'm not, because I think, again, you rolled the dice on Chet. That's fair. That's fair. At number 2, you want to do that. You're a small market team. I understand. Well, then you roll the dice. You have number 12, and you take at 12, they took Jalen Williams from Santa Clara.
Jalen Williams.
Yeah, they took the first Jalen Williams. Then they ended up taking the second Jalen Williams from Arkansas at 34. Maybe Sam didn't realize maybe thought he took the wrong one or something. Who knows? But you take Jalen Williams from Santa Clara at 12, who's shot up the boards, and he's a late bloomer. He grew about 7-8 inches in high school. Good player, but again, comes from the WCC. It's going to take time, likely. Right, it's going to take some time for him, and then you trade some of your first round picks, your equity that you built up, and you draft the kid Ousmane Dieng from France, and he's a ways away and not a shooter. Sam Presti, he drafts like he's got a lifetime contract. It's like at some point you got to win games, Sam. Like you were good a few years ago. Now you're going to be in constant rebuilding mode. You took a kid, Pukalewski, or whatever the hell his name was last year, that was like 170 pounds. By the time you win, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to say, I want out. We've sucked for too long. I'm out of here. So I just think he's going about it the whole wrong way. And to me, again, you might have some good young players, but in 2028, you might be good when Sam Presti is back teaching at Emerson College.
Strong words. What about Jabari Smith? Now, he fell to number 3. Of course, he had the classic quotes after the night that he has a chip on his shoulder. He has something to prove. Oh, boo-hoo. He went 3 instead of 1. I feel so bad for him. Yeah. He's with the Rockets. What's his future like?
I'm with you.
Yeah, I like him a lot. Again, I think he could be the best of the 3. But I think at the end of the day, the more I give it serious thought, I think he's the one I would have taken 3rd. Because, you want to look at him and say Jason Tatum, right? That's kind of how you want to look. Well, I felt like Jason had a much better, even at the same stage, even if we didn't see it as much. But if you remember the ACC tournament at Duke and that team, it was hard for Jason because it was Grayson Allen and Luke Kennard's team until the end. And then it was Jason Tatum in the ACC tournament. You saw what he could do off the bounce and all that. I just haven't seen, like, Jabari's a good player, but I haven't seen that explosiveness, that ability to put it on the floor and get to the basket. We've seen the shot and we've seen the length, but that's what he kind of vaulted up the boards with. And if he's not, to me, the Kevin Durant, and I don't know if Bill has said it last night, but I've heard him say it before, the comparison to Kevin Durant, it's ridiculous to me. The most apt comparison for Jabari Smith is Rashard Lewis. That's the best comparison to me for Jabari Smith. Rashard Lewis, when he was averaging 20, in Seattle and shooting 39, 40% from three, that's who I think Jabari Smith will be.
I'll tell you, a guy like, I'm not saying he didn't go in the right place. He very well may have gone exactly where he was projected to go. But he caught my eye, and that was Mark Williams.
Yes, love it.
Yeah. This is Robert Williams III's heir, frankly, I think.
And you know what? He'll show up on time right away.
Yeah, he won't be a Time Lord.
Nope,
I mean, I think he's a growth stock for sure, don't you?
Yep.
And at 15, that's a pretty good haul for Charlotte. And he doesn't have to travel far. He can walk there, if he wants to. So that's nice. But he caught my eye. I have a question for you. If you tell me, I started reading a lot in the New York papers prior to the draft because the Knicks had another bleeped up draft, I think. Don't you agree?
Well, yes and no. So, obviously they were just trying to clear space to get Jalen Brunson. And if it works, that's fine, I guess. But, if you don't get Jalen Brunson.
The Knicks traded with OKC.
Yeah.
Right. That's I'm just putting that out.
They traded.
They made the deal with OKC.
And didn't come away. They came away empty-handed at the moment, for the most part. So, all right. Anyway, Dyson Daniels from the Ignite. Now, there was a lot. He vaulted up pretty high, I thought, and he went exactly. He went number 8 to New Orleans. But I know I was reading about him in New York papers because the Knicks supposedly had them on the list. Anyway, have you ever laid eyes on this young man?
Yeah, I've seen him, not in person, but I've seen him on tape plenty.
Yeah.
He can really, really guard. Turned him into a point guard this year from Australia. Tough kid, not a great shooter. But you know what? In New Orleans right now, if you have Ingram and you have CJ McCollum, and I love their second-round pick of EJ Lidell. Love it, love it, love it. I like what David Griffin's doing down there as long as Zion stays healthy. And Zion can be a guy that at least you respect. The only thing is, if Daniels can't shoot, then it's hard to put him on the court with Zion, who can't really shoot either. Yeah. Even if you have Ingram and CJ McCollum on the wings, Dyson Daniels has to be a guy who can make open shots eventually.
Guys, I'm sorry.
Out at you before we move. Anything else jump out at you, Jeff, at all?
I would say, Ochai at 14 for Cleveland. I absolutely love like 3-and-D guy, a veteran, a high character guy. Cleveland, Kobe Altman, the GM there, has done an incredible job. We thought he'd be fired a couple of years ago. He gets Darius Garland, who turns out to be a star now. He gets Evan Mobley last year, and now he gets Ochai, who can come in and fill a role and be an immediate contributor to help their team. And I love that one. The biggest swing, Detroit was the team that made the moves that to me are like they could work out and Detroit could be a real player in a few years, or these moves, because they're both like high risk, the highest of risk guys that you could probably find in the draft. They draft Jaden Ivey, who's like a freak athlete, like top 1% of the NBA athlete, but not a point guard, not a great shooter, not a good defender, but has super upside. And then they trade and get Jalen Duren, and he's the same thing in the front court. A freak athlete, a high upside guy. He could be awesome, or he could be a guy that is just, flops in the NBA. So you put those two with Kay Cunningham, and if they both hit it, holy crap. So Troy Weaver, you rolled the dice in Detroit, and you know what? I commend you for it.
One more question. Do you project Walker Kessler as being able to do in the NBA what he was able to do in the collegiate ranks?
I do not. I'm not a big fan of big plotting white big men right now in the NBA.
Even with this shot blocking ability that he
I don't love it, because I don't love him being able to, like Mark Williams, I think can guard. Jalen Duren can guard. They're athletic enough to be able to guard and switch in the perimeter. Walker Kessler cannot.
All right. Okay.
All right,
guys.
Hey,
what did you think? And I know you got to be careful on this because you get paid some money by ESPN. But I don't know if you watched. Did you watch the ESPN broadcast, the ABC broadcast? What did you watch last night?
I watched ESPN.
All right. So ABC, I didn't watch either. I watched a little bit of after we finished our deal on Stadium, but ABC had like Kevin Agandi, Stephen A, Jalen Rose, and Chene, and none of which watch any college basketball. So I thought that's a train wreck waiting to happen.
Yep.
And even ESPN's, I watched it at the end, like Kendrick Perkins, he doesn't watch any college. Like Billis does. So you have Billis for college. You have Perk. I love Malika. I think Malika is like the biggest star there is at ESPN right now. I think she's tremendous. But and Woj, like I don't know. I just feel like they need another guy who watches both college and NBA.
She conducted herself very well, but I'm with you. Perk is a amusing amusing character.
Yeah,
but
he doesn't know
no business on that. He had no business on that on a draft night at all. Nope. That is, if they don't, they must be lacking in some deep depth if they have to turn to him. Billis, of course, belongs there. There's no question about that.
All about entertainment. All about, geez, Jeff Goodman, a guy that knows pro and college. Who would that be? Anyways.
I mistakenly flipped on to ABC because I decided I want to watch some evening news after the first round, all right? And caught Stephen A in the middle of a Knick rant that was,
unwatchable. Probably.
Stephen A at his bombastic best or worst, depending on how you look at it.
And also, guys, as the sun comes out and small businesses are back in business, LinkedIn Jobs makes it easier to grow your team. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the people you want to interview faster and for free. You can create a free job post within minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. Then add your job in the purple #hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring so your network can help you find the right people to hire. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small business ranks LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires and leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know every week, 40 million job seekers use LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/scribe. That's linkedin.com/scribe to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Okay, so here's the drama regarding the Nets, excuse me. Kyrie may want a new contract, and since that may be the situation, Durant may want out of Brooklyn. If you're Brooklyn guys, do you want both of these jokers to leave? I'll start with you, Jeff.
No, I don't want Kevin Durant to leave.
No.
Then you're building around Ben Simmons, who can't shoot the ball and refuses to shoot the ball. So no, I do everything in my power to keep Kevin Durant. And I think Kevin Durant has to understand at this point, you know what? He made a mistake. You left Steph and your team with Kyrie. Like it couldn't have been a worse decision for his career than what Kevin Durant made. And you know what? Be a big boy, own up to it, and move on and try to find somebody else. Try to find a different running mate. And then again, you got Ben Simmons hopefully healthy. And if you find somebody else, you can still win another title or at least compete for one.
I am totally bored with the Kyrie Irving. Bored. I'm tired of it. And I'll go back to what I said, and accurately, by the way, when he was with Boston. And that is that among the other things I said, this will not be his last step in the NBA. There'll be several more stops as every team gets him and then finds out why you don't want him. And that's that. As skilled as he is. And even last night, watching some highlights, and oh my God, I forgot, how he wills his way to the hoop as easily as any person his size ever has in the history of this game. I agree that. But he's not worth it. He is not worth the aggravation. He will let you down. He will let you down. He's not trustworthy, reliable. He doesn't have any. Who would want to take this on at the money we're talking about too, by the way?
It's so sad. I mean, honestly, it's become sad at this point that we're talking about Kyrie Irving this way, right? Like, he's like you said, he's so talented, but he's such a locker room. I don't know if killer is the right word, but
lawyer.
Disruption.
That's whatever. What he is.
Well, I just don't know what Durant's thinking when he sits and he says, "Well, if Kyrie's not going to be here, I'm not going to be here." I don't know what happened to Kevin Durant. I have no idea.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think it started. I still say this. I think it all started for Kevin Durant when he chose to go to Golden State. He was the golden boy before that. Nobody ever said anything negative about him, ever. He was like the golden child in Oklahoma City and in Texas and coming up in high school. And all of a sudden, he gets criticism from half the world, right? Half the world understands, hey, he went to Golden State for, to win championships. I was completely behind him. But a lot of people weren't, and they killed him. And he didn't know how to react. And I think it completely changed him. And again, clouded his decision-making, obviously, because he could team up. He had already teamed up with the right guy in the right place in Golden State. And he never should have left. But if you were going to leave, you shouldn't have teamed up with Kyrie Irving. And sometimes that's a problem, right? You team up with your friends. No, don't team up with your friends. You team up with guys who can help you win titles. And Kyrie Irving, the interesting part will be tail between his legs. Does Kyrie Irving go back? Like, is he going to LeBron and saying, pretty please, take me back?
Well, Durant should know what kind of guy Kyrie is if he leaves him hanging and he goes back to LeBron. All right, guys, final question here before we wrap it up. The Celtics with the 53rd pick went with J.D. Davis, guard out of Alabama at 6'2". I don't expect him to make the team. I can't say that I know a lot about him, and I don't think that that's a problem. But it seems to me, Jeff, at this point, the draft is not a tool for the Celtics.
No, this pick was I don't want to say throwaway pick, because he is super athletic. Like, he and Jaden Ivey are the two most athletic guys coming out of this draft, and Jalen Duren. Those three are the three most athletic dudes. He is a freak athlete. But he's not a point guard, and he's got point guard size. And he's not a two guard because he doesn't shoot it well enough, although at times he made some shots this year. He was streaky, but he's got a long way to go. Like, he is G League for probably a couple of years, and you hope maybe he turns into something. But, again, there's a reason he was picked in the 50s, and ultimately he's probably not a part of the future plans of the Boston Celtics anytime soon.
And, Bob, we just hope that the Celtics continue to tweak in the offseason.
Yes, we're still on an eternal search for a shooter off the bench.
I got a name. I got a few names.
Go ahead.
All right, so my name yesterday, even more so, because Atlanta took A.J. Griffin, with their first-round pick. A.J. Griffin is the son of Adrian Griffin, played at Duke, shot the hell out of the ball as a freshman. He's got size. So is Kevin Huerter expendable? Mm-hmm. Kevin Huerter is a guy that's still got, I want to say, like 3 years left at about, $14 million a year. Is he expendable? And you've got this trade exception that you can deal if you're the Celtics and take on money without giving a whole lot back. Huerter would be ideal for this Celtics team. Ideal. I don't know if they have enough to get him. I don't know if he figures into Atlanta's plans now quite as much. Who knows? Yeah, but Huerter would be one. I think like a Buddy Hield would be somebody you could look at, because if you look at what Indiana did, they drafted Ben Mathurin, another wing shooter, just like Buddy Hield. Buddy's making, I think, $18 million or somewhere around there. They've already got Tyrese Halliburton as well. So they're loaded with wing shooters. So Buddy Hield could be one you look at as well. Those are the types of guys that, if I'm Brad Stevens, I'm looking at bringing out.
Well, you're absolutely right. And he finally admitted, I shouldn't say finally, he publicly admitted that is a quest, that he knows he needs that. And we've known that for 2 or 3 years, that they could use that. I used to say, who's the next Lou Williams when I was a pie in the sky, because Lou Williams very likely going to the Hall of Fame, by the way. People have to understand that. So anyway, that we're in agreement there. And thanks for those names. That's good. I know them both. And I've had my eye on Hield way back, ever since I first saw him. He got your attention. And you're right about Huerter. That's good.
Well, would you take Brogdon? Would you want Brogdon, Bob?
Well, I want him on my team just because, you talk about high character. You talk about, and also be good because it would give Grant Williams somebody to talk with that on his level, because I'm sure there are times when, they don't know what he's talking about. And so
I know Malcolm would be like,
that would get to hang out with.
Up, Grant.
We would have the highest GPA in the league if they get Brogdon. You guys, folks, Brogdon graduated in 3+ years with 2 degrees. Okay, that's the kind of exceptional person he is, and he's a well-rounded player. He knows how to play basketball. And
that's a lot of money.
Anyway, I know. Well, he'll spend it wisely.
Yes.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Jeff, good luck today. I know you got more work to do. Bob, I will speak for both of us. On days like today, thank God for Jeff Goodman.
Oh, no question. No, absolutely no question. That's our man. That's our horse.
All right, guys, next week. We'll see you later.
Thanks, guys.
Very good.